Reddit, what is something that you can't believe is actually a real thing? Virus. On the microscopic level, they are creepy as duck. They aren't even technically living. They inject their own DNA into a cell, recoding it to make more viruses until the cell literally bursts open and dies because of all the viruses in it. It's possible for every single one of those viruses to attach to a different cell and insert DNA that does the same thing. WTF. Lucid dreaming. Being able to control your dreams and living in a completely different world, so to speak, while you're asleep. The thought of it gives me goosebumps. If something like this is real, it goes to show how complex our brains are and how much we don't know about it still. Unicorns are fake, but giraffes are real. Giraffes. CRISPR and gene editing therapy in general. I mean, the fact that we are nearing an age where we can modify the makeup of our DNA has huge implications. There will have to be an extensive legal system that results from this technology. The Apollo program. We strapped dudes on top of 36 stories of explosives to explode them to the moon and then exploded them back without them dying. Oh, and basically to get them back they fell back to Earth from the height of the moon. If that is not crazy enough, Apollo 13 happened. On that mission they got exploded to space, then what they were traveling in exploded mid-trip. They then had to limp the thing most of the way home using little explosions, slingshotting themselves around the dark side of the moon, all the while using the lunar module, LM, as a makeshift lifeboat, until it was close to time to come back to Earth, then getting back into the command service module, CSM, for hopeful successful re-entry, not knowing if or if not the heat shield was damaged by the main mission-ending explosion. Oh yeah, they also had help by mission control to basically MacGyver the carbon dioxide scrubbing system in the LM to support 3 people for 4 days, using just random bits from both parts of the craft and specifically extra filters from the CSM, calling the finished product the mailbox. Drive-through liquor stores. Platypuses. I mean, what even are those things? They look like beavers fused with ducks. They are mammals, but they lay eggs. They are just the product of some ducked up science experiment. There is no other explanation. I've met several people who didn't know that narwhals are a real animal. Edit. So many of you. I'm honestly jealous. It's like finding out as an adult that maybe some mythical creatures are real. Keeps the dream alive. Prosthetic limbs that can be controlled as though they were flesh and blood. Not that long ago, losing a limb meant being given a cheap plastic replacement that didn't move. Now we are entering into the realm of Deus Ex style bionics and augmentations. Just don't offer them to anyone named Barry. One of my close friends works in nanotechnology and prosthetic enhancement to make them more realistic and actually bond technology to nerves and living tissue to make them like our own limbs. Part of the inspiration was destroying his elbow and essentially having it replaced with screws and gears, among other things. It's insane to listen to him talk about what's becoming possible. Cyborgs are real. Internet. Sometimes it's unbelievable I can instantaneously converse with people 10,000 kilometers away from me, as if they were right in front of me. Edit. I'm glad so many of you relate to this post. A little late to the party, but for me, it's blue whales. That thing is enormous. It's literally a goddamn sea monster. It just so happens to be a sea monster that eat tiny crabs. But still, their hearts are the size of a small car, a small ducking car. My dad and I were out fishing out of San Diego. Not a huge boat, 25-footer is all. We came up on 2 of them. I honestly thought it was a submarine at first. They are truly majestic giants. I have had them under my boat twice, once in my 40 feet, which I sold a while ago, right off Catalina at the Isthmus, and then again in my 23 right off of Palos Verdes. It was scary in the 23 feet, as if was off our stern, and heading right for us. The problem was it was only a few feet under the surface, and the closer it got we all stomped out feet to let it know that we were here. I'm sure it knew. But when you see something that large heading for you, it would make anyone do crazy things. I do remember one of the cool experiences was being able to scoop handfuls of krill all around the boat. The water was nearly red from all of it floating around. It reminded me of the red crabs when they are around. Those things are nuts when they appear. There's a building in your town where you can get as many free books as you want, as long as you promise to play nicely and bring them back soonish so other people can enjoy them. And people actually do it. It's more than just books too. DVDs, CDs, ebooks, tools, laptops, professional cameras and gear, video and still, and more I can't remember. Hell, my city library has 3D printers patrons can print with. Edit, Toronto Public Library. Resources vary by branch, obviously. Third printing required taking a class on how to use third printers, about an hour, and runs almost every week somewhere. Prints are limited to 2 hours of machine time and costs $10 per gram. YouTube tutorials. That you can nowadays actually fix something by watching a 3 to 10 minutes video. The first time I was truly blown away by YouTube was when my radiator blew in my Civic. I typed in 98 Civic X radiator replacement. I know that's a very popular model, but damn I didn't expect to land a perfect match. YouTube tutorials were awesome until the 10-minute videos happened. Wild guinea pigs. I've seen them as pets, but for some reason I find the thought of them running around wild both hard to visualize and hysterically hilarious. Edit, some things I learned. Because of this comment, the domesticated guinea pigs people have as pets don't exist in the wild. Disappointing but interesting. Guinea pigs are herd animals. Which is funny as hell. People eat them. Mainly in Peru from what I've seen. Wild hamsters and hedgehogs are also hilarious. There is no guinea pig documentary. There needs to be one. Thanks Reddit. You made my day multiple times with laughs and learns. I can never believe spies and hitmen are real things that happen behind the curtains of everyday life. Edit. Apart from the events we see on the news where spies are caught or mess up, there is probably a high target operation going on right now as we are talking about these things. That's crazy. Computers. I mean, I study them, but the more I know about them, the more impressive they become. Edit. It's surprising how there are literally dozens of comments that make the same trick to rock into thinking jokes. It gets a bit stale. Smartphone. I have the entire internet, my entire music library, and a bunch of games, and oh that phone thing too, in my pocket. Everything is accessible at all times. It's wonderful and kinda crazy when you step back. The entire Jonestown situation from the 70s. The thought that one man had that big of a power trip and could lure so many followers to South America is unbelievable. And not only that, but the fact that he could brainwash so many people to willingly drink the Kool-Aid is just astounding. The whole situation was just tragic. Edit. Yes people, I know about the podcasts and that it was Flavor Aid. RIP my inbox. Edit 2. Seriously people, does it really matter if it was Kool-Aid or Flavor Aid? Everyone feels the need to be correct I guess. Stop messaging me. One they were down there they were isolated and I believe had passports taken away so even if they did come to they didn't have anywhere to go. A senator went down to check it out with a team and some people got shot. I forget who. There is a recording of that last meeting where they talked about drinking the Kool-Aid and I wouldn't use the word willing. There's an episode of Sword and Scale, true crime podcast that covers in detail, but be warned it's one of the more disturbing ones. Edit. Wow, didn't expect this to go as big as it did. Thank you those who filled in details. Congressman Ryan was shot and killed at the airstrip in Guyana. Episode 50 is the episode of Sword and Scale that covers this. Episode 86 covers Heaven's Gate, if you want to continue down the cult rabbit hole. The scale of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster. The radius of unlivable land was absolutely insane. It's especially crazy because it wasn't super suburban. I can't even imagine something like this happening in my area. The plant actually kept operating through the year 2000 with thousands of employees. Unit 4 obviously a total loss, but the other units ran for up to another 15 years. White birch bark. It has a natural oil in it that makes it incredibly flammable, even when wet. You can literally submerge it in water overnight and use it to start a fire in the morning. I've done it. How something that flammable can be in the woods without constantly burning the forest down is unfathomable to me. It's like God left us this little Easter egg in nature, just to make camping in the rain a little more tolerable. I hear all these crazy stories of flat earthers and I cannot believe a person could be so close-minded and just plain stupid. When mathematical proofs were first introduced to me in college, our professor had his flat earther friend come in and talk about flat earth theory for about 45 minutes, and after she left, spent the remaining class time systematically destroying each and every argument. That was the first time I considered that maybe some of these hardcore believers really do exist. Slavery in this day and age. 10 million children 24. 9 million people in forced labor 15. 4 million people in forced marriage 4. 8 million people in forced sexual exploitation. And knew that slavery still existed, but 10 million children? Holy shit, that's so much more than I thought. What countries does this happen in? How some organic material in your head and some chemicals firing in your body are creating thoughts and feelings. Edit. Fix grammar issue edit 2. Woohoo. My first gold for a comment made by my own organic material. 1. Antibiotics. 2. Antibiotic resistant bacteria. We created a series of drugs that killed absolutely everything. Diseases that used to kill disfigure us in horrible ways could be wiped out after taking some pills for a few days. And now, for a multitude of largely preventable reasons, a lot of those miracle murder drugs are less and less effective as bacteria evolve resistance to them. Soon some of those illnesses that have just been an inconvenience to us for the past several decades could become deadly and horrible again. Edit. I love that my day drinking comment has become the most popular one I've ever made. I should stay up late and read it more often. Not much seems to happen here at night, surprisingly. Humans, we're the only thing that has existed the way we exist in the history of time on this planet. Nothing else has even come close to what we do on a daily basis. Nothing else has ever built a road or a bridge for the benefit of their species. Nothing else has ever come close to leaving our planet, but we do it reasonably often. Nothing else has built a network where they can instantly communicate with another member of their species the way humans have. No other animal has built anything more ingenious than a spear. We've built nuclear bombs, airplanes, rockets, drones, cars, boats, elevators, TV, radio, the internet, robots that can do backflips. We've also changed other species. Remember that dogs used to be wolves? We did that. We get a chihuahua from a ducking grey wolf after many generations of selective breeding. We've domesticated cows, horses, goats, sheep, pigs, chickens, ducks etc. etc. We are capable of literally destroying the world we live on, or saving it. We are the biggest mind duck of all, and we don't ever think about it. Astronomer here. There are now a few thousand known exoplanets, aka planets around other stars, and for many of them, it's hard to believe they actually exist, and it's not just science fiction. There is a planet, bigger than Jupiter, but with the density of styrofoam. No Atlas. Comet exoplanet Calt 11b gas giant styrofoam density space 49,120. There is a so-called diamond planet. Wikipedia. Org Wiki 55 Cancri, where, as the name implies, the planet is carbon-rich in composition, and is likely a third diamond. There is one where it rains vaporized rocks. Space. Com 7358 alien world rains rocks. HTML, and those are just a few off the top of my head. It's so fascinating to see what diverse worlds there are out there. Edit. People are asking how you find the density of an exoplanet. 4 planets found via the transit method, where it briefly eclipses the star. You know the size of the planet, based on how long it takes to cross in front of the star, and can thus figure out things like its radius. Then, once you know that, you can find its mass by first watching the transit to figure out the planet's period of orbit, and from that you can use Kepler's third law. Density is equivalent of mass over volume, so voila. Styrofoam planet. Here is a more detailed explanation. SFU. Kakaloquium Dictopastrobiology discovering exoplanets calculating exoplanet properties. HTML.